Hey everyone, I want to apologize for the delay for postponing the Darth Vader lightsaber build series. The reason is because I accidentally replaced the video file where I assembled the first LED that I had. This is another one, with one of the duplicates that I have already uploaded. So there was going to be a very crucial missing part in the video series, something that I didn't want to continue with without the LED because I believe it's one of the most crucial parts. And when I finished the build, I realized that the LED that I had assembled at the time, there was a small short. And long story short, one of my LED diodes isn't working. The flash on clash isn't working, and the other two red dies aren't as bright as I would like them to be. So I had to order a new LED, and I'm going to be assembling this, and it's basically going to be the same step. So let us get into this. And I want to thank you all for your patience and your support. I really appreciate it. Let's do this.
Look, it's the general!
Okay, everyone, we are back on the cutting mat, and we're going to be assembling our LED for the Darth Vader lightsaber. Now, what we're going to be needing for this part, of course, is the two resistors. I think it's 1.2 watt ohm 3 watt resistors. They are essential for red dyes. Anything with red or yellow or white or anything that has to do with ambers and oranges need resistors because they are colors that draw a lot of heat. And despite the fact that we're going to be using thermal dissipation paste, it's still going to be drawing a lot of heat, and resistors are absolutely essential for this kind of build. Now, this came off my previous LED that I disassembled, so if you've seen my video series so far, you know how I do these, how I assemble the resistors. It's nothing difficult. I'm going to be, hooking these up on my current LED that I have so far, and let us get into this. So, if we take into account that this is an ordinary LED assembly, what are the pieces that we need aside from the resistors that I just showed you? It is the copper heatsink base, which, like I always say, you need to clean very, very well. Mine is as clean as can be. If you take into account that it had some thermal paste on the previous LED on it, it's actually quite clean. It's still good. This is the LED die, red, red, white. I know it sounds like that song, but anyway. And we're hoping that this time we won't be having any problems. The problem was that my previous soldering iron was, well, this is my ESD safe, my previous soldering iron, and I decided to give it another chance because I never had a problem with this when it came to the electronics operating. I had problems with soldering on. I had problems with the wire, with the solder, so I decided to crank up the heat, and it worked perfectly. So, I'm going to be using this in the future, obviously, because I think that despite the fact that I paid a shit ton of money on this, it is worth it. And the other soldering iron is okay, but it's not ESD safe, electrostatic discharge safe. So, especially when it comes to LED diodes like this, you want to make sure that there are no electrical discharges. I'm going to be needing my helping hands for this. I'm going to be taking off one of the toothless alligator clips, and I'm going to be hooking on my the LED here. There we go. So I don't know if you can see this. Let me just try and twist it. So basically you just hook it on up like that. And I promise I will have a video series where I will have a much better camera in the future for you guys to actually see this in detail, zoomed in and properly. I have my Graphics build log for that, so this is basically a demonstration of how I, basically built my Darth Vader lightsaber. Let's get into it. So, of course, you're going to be needing your soldering iron. What I like to do is I like to heat the copper base. The reason I do that is because I want my LED, I want the solder to stick nice and easy. But one of the tricks that my uncle actually taught me, because we were into a soldering frenzy the other day, I lent him my other big soldering iron, and he would apply flux that I also lent to him. He actually spent quite a bit of it. He applied flux on the joints that he wanted to, on the bits that he wanted to solder. So he said that, okay, you have to take a bit of flux, not too much, and just apply just a dab where you want to solder it, so that the solder gobs can actually sit nice and flush, so that they can actually, you know, so that the solder points can be good. Okay, now I'm obviously doing this right now. This is actually a first for me. Okay, so I applied a bit of flux. Let me take off any residual flux here. And I want to see how this is going to be working. This is like an experiment for me, a personal experiment it is. Okay, and if you're actually working on a project of your own, let me know if you guys would actually apply some flux on your own. So, solder wire, let's go. The LED, my friends, is what basically lights up the whole thing. Take the mouse out of the way. Another tool that we're going to be needing, of course, is the wire stripper. My dad likes to call it the sheeting cutter because he says stripper sounds silly, and I said I have to use the word stripper because otherwise I'm going to have problems with COPA. So this is strictly for adults. So you know that if you're a kid, you're not supposed to be playing with these tools, and our thermal paste, which we're going to be putting aside for now. So always, 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 when you use your soldering iron, you're supposed to take it and dip it into flux. Make sure it makes that nice sizzling noise. And clean it with your soldering sponge. And there you have it. It is nice and clean. So you can apply a few dabs of solder onto your iron. And let's see if my uncle's advice works. Well, what do you know? It actually looks much better than the usual dabs that I do. I'm not going to push my luck. It looks much neater, actually. I'm going to do the same here. Okay, oh, that looks good. Nice. Better and better. Practice makes perfect. Just put it aside here so that make sure that your iron does not hit the LED diode. And I'm satisfied with that. And what we're going to be doing, of course, we are going to be what I want to do is I want to measure the yeah, okay, they're not too long, not too short either. So the reds in this build are the negatives. The common positives are going to be the greens, of course. So what I'm going to be doing, of course, speaking of course, did I say of course? Yes, of course. I'm going to be using these greens to make a common positive. Okay, I hope I did not cut that too short. I wish I had those toothless pliers here. There we go. Yeah, that should reach pretty good. So you want some small chunks like this. The reason why I do this is because I don't want to have too many wires hanging from the LED diode itself. I don't know if you can see this. You don't want too many wires. So the less wires, the better. There's some LED star diodes from Nigon Electronic Creations that basically have the positives all wired up, common positives. And I think that works perfectly. So you're going to be using your sheeting cutter. And of course, you're going to be tinning and soldering. You know the drill, how this works. I'm going to be taking both sides, cutting the sheathing, and I'm going to demonstrate the first bit where I dip into my flux. Okay. And I basically follow through with my iron. In this side. So applying flux on whatever surface you're going to be soldering on is actually an extremely good idea. I really wish I had thought of this sooner. It would have made my life a lot easier. There we go. So I'm going to be taking this positive here. I'm going to be applying a bit of solder. that positive prong is not properly, oops, let me just drop this here. This is very delicate work. Okay, that's a good joint. And I'm going to be applying the same over here. So what I want to do, I want to make absolutely sure that the green wire is in place where I want it to be. If it sits down there, nice and easy. There we go. Good joint. And that's that. All we need is another tiny green wire like that, which I'm going to be pausing this video so that it doesn't take too much time. When there's a repetitive process, I like to pause and cut the video so that you guys know basically I'm going to be doing the same thing. And then when I get to the negatives, I will return real quick. Okay, we're back. Now, what I did here, I connected the two main positives together, and they're all going to be fed down with one big green positive wire. I also brought my long nose alligator pliers. Here we go. Call them alligator pliers, I don't know why. So I cut off the sheeting off this thing. We all know the drill. Go. Nice and easy. Clean that off. And what I'm going to be doing right now is I'm going to be taking these two resistors, or these two positives, these two negatives, I'm sorry. And what I want it's not the right angle. I want it to be here with the noses down. Okay. Go. That's nice. On. It's not going anywhere. Let's apply the same principle for this side here. Solder it up. Perfect. Okay, so let me show you what I've done so far. Two positives and the two red negatives. What's left is the white dye on the flash and clash. Hopefully this time this white won't go dark on me. So I'm going to be changing the position of the star pad right here, opposite exactly of the white dye. Here we go. And the white wire is going to go here. Tin the wire. Nice and easy. And that's how the cookie crumbles. Okay. So another positive for me. I think I'm going to be going with this side here because it's easier for me to solder on. I hope that I don't remove the other green one. Green wire. Make sure that it fits the hole right here. Beautiful. Very good. Everything is connected. Now, what I want to do is I want to take these two reds together. I want to see if they're too long, too short. No, I think that they work just fine. Just fine. So what I want to do everything is nice and connected, as you can see here. Feed these wires down here like that. I'm going to be taking these two reds together. And I see that one of the wires is a little longer. So what I'm going to be doing is just a little longer. So no, I think that we can get away with one of the two reds here. No, the length is actually perfect. Very good. Very good. Very nice. What I'm going to be doing, I'll be needing some red heat shrink. A bit of red heat shrink here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed this wire here. I'm going to cut this off, cut the sheathing, dip it in flux. There you go. A nice dip. And that, love that sizzling sound. Take this here too. Didn't. So if you see that you're soldering something and it doesn't go together very well, then the solution to your problem is flux. Okay. Let's try this again. You'll see how flux. There we go. Beautiful joint. And now that everything has been tinned, looks good. Note, I don't even need my other helping hand. I'm actually using my own, which is good, which means that I'm a little more confident when it comes to soldering right now. Again, get this wire right here. And shrink it. There we go. Why I'm going to be doing a common positive red is because on the prism board, as you can see here, if you soldered on any of the two pads, if you solder two common wires on any other pad, the lightsaber will still work, and that's why I'm going to do it. Like the Nano Biscotti, that's how it works, same logic. And the other one here, this one right here, where my finger is at, is where the white dye is going to go, and right next to it is where I'm going to be feeding my red wire. So that's okay. That's been done nicely. I have my green here. I'm going to be also soldering, I'm going to be tinning my red. I'm an ambidextrous monkey. I'm using, dude, wow. What do you get when you practice this sort of thing? So take what you don't need away. What I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to be applying this stuff. Thermal paste. One. This is where the toothpick comes in. One pad. What I'll be doing is I'm going to be spreading it, so I don't need any more thermal paste. You do not need an excess. It doesn't have to be a crazy amount. So what I'm going to do is here, dot it. And that is going to splay out. Go. And what we do from here is we feed the wires into the holes one by one. Turn this upside down like that. And what I want to do is I want to assess which wire is going to go where. So what's going to go there next to it. Oh, I made a boo-boo. I made a huge boo-boo, actually. I shouldn't have soldered these two reds on. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be feeding the wires through first, and then... Actually, I should have done this for all of the wires. So I'm going to pause this video again and make sure that everything is nice and stuck on it. You will see me in the time jump where I have assembled the LED star onto my thermal pad. Okay guys, so what I did, I managed to bring the whole thing together, and we're going to be putting our LED together right here. Okay, like that. Assemble everything. Use our big ass flathead screwdriver. And we're done. No, we're not. We assembled it wrong. You have to pay attention that you do it right. You want to make sure that the lens are on the diodes. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Forgive me. So let us disassemble this once again. Make sure that they are covering the diodes. Everything looks good right here. Go, there we go. Very nice. This makes me quite happy, actually. Nice and tight. Everything is in place. So I'm going to be assembling this to the rest of the hilt, and you're going to be seeing what I've done by the end of this video series. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys. I will actually post the next part of the video series where I continue with the inner core and the switches and everything. I'll see you later. Bye.